Welcome to PlanStrongerTV. I'm your host, David Holland. On today's episode, I am joined by Social Security disability attorney Luis Gracia to discuss some of the most important aspects of Social Security disability. Our panel of psychologists will discuss financial stress in America and how to cope. And I will share 3 retirement mistakes you don't have to make. It's time to plan stronger.
PlanStrongerTV is made possible in part by the following.
Helping you create a better retirement through home equity. The Stephen J. Sless Group of PRMI, National Reverse Mortgage Leaders. Expect more with Sless. The Rice Law Firm is dedicated to providing prompt, high-quality, and fairly priced service in the areas of wills, trusts, probate, and estate planning. We also assist individuals with divorce, family law, and prenuptial agreements. The Rice Law Firm is the name you can trust.
Not asking about fees and expenses can be a big retirement mistake. Why? Well, excessive fees can really be a drag on your investment performance and hinder what you accumulate. How much? Well, here's a simple example. Let's say we have a $100,000 investment portfolio. And let's say that the excessive fee, how much we're paying too much for the service that we're receiving on that $100,000 investment account, is 2%. So the extra fee is 2. And we look at this over a 10-year period. Well, if we do the math, that's $20,000 that has been taken out, not just for fees, but extra fees. So this is the amount we're paying too much for the service received. Now, it's not just the $20,000 that won't be there, it'll be the potential earnings as well. So it can really add up, and this is on $100,000. You can do the math. If it's $500,000, that's $100,000 that's not going to be in the account, plus the earnings. So what's the takeaway? What do you need to do? Well, you know, it's interesting. In the United States, talking about money is generally a taboo subject. Now, talking about fees and expenses and what advisors are paid is even greater of a taboo, and it shouldn't be that way. Working with an advisor, you should expect transparency. You should expect forthcoming of the information. It shouldn't be a struggle. It should not be awkward. When you buy a car, do you ask how much it's going to cost? When you get your car serviced, do you say fix whatever and let me know later what it's going to cost? No. You know up front what those things are going to be. Why not with your finances? I mean, your finances are what will pay for that car, right? It's even much more important. So don't be shy, don't feel awkward, and when you ask, expect it to be in writing, expect it to be clear, and if somebody is bashful or not willing to talk about it or does everything but talk about it, you have to ask for it multiple times, then you may have your answer. It may not be something they want to talk about. Do this, have this kind of conversation with someone who wants to handle your money, and you'll plan stronger. It's time to talk about the psychology of money. Financial stress is high in America. It always seems like that's been the case. Is this unique to America? And what can we do about it individually? Joining me for a panel discussion on this topic are Dr. Art Markman, Professor of Psychology at the University of Texas at Austin and the Executive Director of IC Squared Institute, Dr. Christy Archuleta, Associate Professor at the University of Georgia and the Editor-in-Chief for the Journal of Financial Therapy, and Dr. Brad Klontz, a certified financial planner practitioner in Boulder, Colorado, and a professor of financial psychology at Creighton University. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
All
Nice
right,
to be
3
here.
doctors in the house, all this psychological know-how and power. Solve the mystery of America's financial stress.
Yeah, this is the top stressor in the lives of Americans, or at least one of the top stressors. I think the most recent surveys show about 60% of Americans say that they're significantly stressed out about money. And one of the culprits, I think, has to do with this concept called relative deprivation. And really what we know in psychology is that how we sort of rank our well-being in terms of finances too is based on what we see other people doing around us. And currently, if you're on social media at all, you see this all the time. We're inundated with all this information basically showing you that, oh, look, you're not having as much fun as they are.
Right.
You're not driving that car they're driving, and you're not on that vacation they're on, which gives you a deep psychological sense of dis-ease. Like, I'm missing out, things aren't going well for me. Has nothing to do with objective reality, has everything to do with sort of our tribal brain and how we're comparing ourselves to other people. So being aware that that's how you're wired and tempering that can really help.
You said tribal brain, and now Art's ready to burst over here.
Well, I mean, another way of thinking about this, or another term that psychologists use, is social comparison. And so one of the things that we do in life, we have to, in order to figure out how good things are for us, we have to compare to something. And generally, we compare to other people. And in the work on social comparison, what that says is we're comparing ourselves to other people. And we can make what are called upward social comparisons or downward social comparisons. So an upward social comparison is when we compare ourselves to somebody who's better off than we are on some dimension. Downward is to compare ourselves to somebody who's worse off. When you compare yourself to somebody who's better off, you feel worse about yourself. You are dissatisfied. And as Brad pointed out, it's easy to do that with social media because somebody's always got a new car or has gone on a great vacation. Now, that dissatisfaction isn't necessarily terrible because a lot of times it can be motivating. You see somebody who's a little bit better off than you are, and then you push yourself a little further. The problem is, if the gap that you see isn't bridgeable, you don't see how you could get from where you are to where somebody else is, that's the point at which it flips from being energizing to being stressful.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, and to piggy off that, when we compare ourselves, we might think that we need to increase our income in order to get those things that we don't necessarily have. But research tells us that more income doesn't make us happier. So there's that piece that we're still comparing ourselves to others, and the income making more isn't going to make you happier.
Well, and we know, and we are already in this spot trying to reconcile this, and we don't get any help from the people marketing products and service to us or the politicians, okay? We don't get any help. In fact, it makes it more difficult because we don't know when we make that comparison you talk about that that person might be leveraged to the hilt and they have no money, but they look like they have a lot, and here we are trying to be smart and save and all the things we tell people to do, and we're going, oh my gosh, how in the world? Because we impose or imbue them with our value system and assume that they got it legitimate when maybe they haven't.
Right, and a key component to stress is that you see that you have the ability to overcome it or at least address it effectively. Like you have the confidence that you can address this thing. So stress isn't bad in and of itself. It's when we feel like we don't have the ability or the resources to be able to tackle it.
And one of the things fundamentally is when we make these comparisons to other people, when we see that somebody has a new car or that vacation or that home, we assume that is making them happy. And there's wonderful work. Danny Kahneman and his colleagues have done great stuff on what's called the hedonic treadmill, which is this idea that you think to yourself, I want this thing, whether it's a promotion or a new car or something else. You think, because that's the thing that's going to make me happy. And for a couple of weeks it does. But then you acclimate to that. You get used to that's my life. And now there's the next thing you want and you're dissatisfied again. So one of the things you have to remember is that there are very few purchases that you can make that are actually going to create a lifetime of happiness.
That's right. I think the key really is to be happy right now. Like not tomorrow even, but like right now. And if you can find ways to really appreciate what you're doing now and the experiences you're having, those are the people that I think once they become wealthy, they probably will be happier. But when you're sort of setting your happiness on this future thing, you're never going to feel like you got there. Because when you ask people who make $100,000, how much, they don't feel rich. Make 200, then they make 200. How much would it, make to feel rich? 500. I mean, it just keeps going. It's the treadmill there, hedonic treadmill. I'm on it. But it's really important to really recognize that happiness is all around you right now. And if you can do a good job experiencing that, the prognosis is good.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to, what are those things that you can do in order to help yourself feel happy and appreciative of what you have right now in the moment? And sometimes that means, maybe that means journaling. Like, these are the things that I can feel happy about that are going on in my life right now. Maybe you even have to cut out some things. Maybe you need to get off social media for a little while, or just make those parameters around creating a space where you feel happy with what you have currently.
And the field of positive psychology talks a lot about the determinants of happiness. And the amount of stuff you have is actually not one of those things. What tends to make people happy are things like the closeness of their relationships and the degree to which they find the work that they do fulfilling. And so one of the things you want to do is to find ways to bring yourself closer to the people around you. And one of the reasons, for example, why journaling about gratitude, as hokey as that can sound sometimes, one of the reasons that that's so powerful is because gratitude, in order to feel that, you actually have to acknowledge all of the wonderful things that other people have done for you in your life in ways that actually then increase the strength of that bond that you have to others.
Wow. Very good. I think we can act on all that. That's good. Good insights. Thank you very much. Art, Christy, Brad, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Short-term investing in retirement can be a big mistake. Why? Well, it's completely normal for the stock market to go down significantly. And a lot of people know that, but it's easy to forget when things are going well. And if we have money available and we're thinking about, well, I'd like to make some money on this. The market's doing good. I'll just put the money in. I'll make some money for a while, and then when I need it, I'll just get it out and do my thing. People hate not making money on cash. I understand. It seems like all the time I am telling people, look, some of your money needs to sit in cash and not make very much. And predictably, they say, well, but I wanted to make money. And I have to say, well, but it's okay for it not to. You know, the truth is, money you need in the short term, it's okay for it not to make money. That's not its purpose. Its purpose is to be liquid, to be stable in value, and to be there when you're ready to take it and use it. You know, if you know you need the money in a year, and that's you need what you've had set aside, you can't really take a chance on putting it in the market. So here's a reality check that will kind of frame this up a little bit for you. And don't hold me to this, but it's just a way to start thinking about, you know, the time period and what you should do with the money. Let's say that you need the money within 1 year. Then I would say maybe it stays in cash and maybe it doesn't make very much. It's okay. Or you know you need the money or you're expecting to need the money, but it'll maybe be about 5 years. Well, then you may be able to invest that money in the market, but maybe not all in the market, maybe in stocks, bonds, maybe some different things that are more conservative overall. If you have closer to 10 years, maybe we can have a little more of a balanced portfolio, stocks and bonds. And then if we have longer than 10 years, maybe then we look at stocks primarily, again with a growth orientation. The idea is to match up when you need the money to how you invest and avoid the allure of making short-term gains on money that you might need tomorrow, because we've got a mismatch. We've got potential high risk with a need for stability, and that's not good. Keep this in mind, consider these thoughts, and you'll plan stronger. I'd like to welcome to the program Luis Gracia. Luis has been a Florida attorney for over 20 years, and he's a partner at the Rue and Ziffer law firm. He is board certified in Social Security disability law, and he focuses his practice on Social Security disability, workers' compensation, as well as personal injury and wrongful death. Welcome, Luis.
Hello, David.
Good to be with you.
Likewise.
All right, let's dive in. Social Security disability is a big topic. Where do we start?
So the program was designed to help people that simply cannot work. And what the program is allowing you to retire early, getting your full retirement benefit as a result of your disability. A disability is nothing other than a medical condition that precludes you from working. That's all it is. Okay? We contribute to the system, Social Security system. You have to work at least 10 years to be insured for those benefits. 5 of those years you have to do to get disability. There's a difference between retirement, which we'll get at 66 now, I think, and also disability. The program is designed to help those who have worked and as a result of their condition can no longer work.
Okay, so that's Social Security disability. What is SSI?
Supplemental Security Income, which is SSI, is designed to help folks that first are financially in tremendous distress, and second, do not have enough credits, have not worked enough to qualify for disability, but also are disabled. So the system was designed to help them. There's a lot of state aid in that particular program.
Okay.
Although the disability itself is federal, the portion that comes with it, and we'll talk about that in a second, Medicaid, is provided by the state.
Okay, so Social Security disability would be kind of like the primary response, and then SSI, the supplemental income, is kind of like a backup?
It is they're different designs.
Okay.
In both programs, the individual has to be disabled.
Okay.
The requirements are the same, but the economic requirements are different. In one, you have worked, you have enough credits to qualify for disability insurance benefits, what we know at Social Security disability. SSI, you do not have enough quarters, you don't have enough credits, and on top of that, you have a financial distress.
Okay.
Basically, individuals that qualify under the poverty level.
People are in a bad spot.
Real bad spot.
Yeah, okay. So how about some of the misconceptions? I'm sure you run into this a lot, myths and misconceptions about these programs.
The number one misconception in Social Security disability is that what Social Security looks for is medical conditions. They do not. What Social Security looks for is your restrictions, your limitations.
I see.
So everybody that has, for example, been diagnosed with a bad back, a bad heart, automatically believes that he or she is disabled because they cannot do their work that they have done for years. That's not what Social Security looks for. They look for the restrictions that the person has, and second, whether they can do any job in the national economy of the United States, and they mean it too.
That's pretty broad.
It sure is.
So if you are, for example, you were working as a doctor and you can't work as a doctor, but you can, I don't know, go be a financial planner, just for example, you're not going to qualify.
That is correct. And the reason why is because Social Security will say, you are not disabled as a matter of law, you still can work. I can tell you that one thing that helps tremendously is age. The higher you go in age, the regulations become much more favorable for you.
So if you're younger, then there's a greater chance, at least in terms of the government's perspective, that you'll be able to do something else productive versus somebody who's already kind of toward the back end of their career and getting closer to regular Social Security benefits.
That is absolutely right, and that's what I've always tell my clients, that Social Security, frankly, is a game of days. You have an individual that is 55 years of age with a condition, he will be approved. You have an individual that is 45 with the same condition, will not be, simply because of the age.
Wow. Okay, so you mentioned that there's a lot of medical stuff here in terms of what you can actually do. Let's talk about the interaction or where this intersects with Medicare and Medicaid.
When you qualify for Social Security disability benefits, one of the benefits is in fact Medicare. You get Medicare, which is otherwise early, yes. Otherwise you would have to wait until the age of 65.
Right.
SSI provides you Medicaid, okay? Which is then, of course, many times, most of the time actually, state regulated and provided for. So those are the two differences. SSI Medicaid, SSD Medicare.
Got it. That's a huge distinction. Okay. Social Security disability, Medicare early, SSI, Medicaid.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Whew. Boy, that's a lot. Okay. Now, how about for families with SSI and SSD? Are there differences in terms of how that impacts children getting benefits?
Significantly. Simply stated, if you qualify for SSD, and you have minor children, those are called auxiliary benefits that your children will receive. They're entitled to receive a portion of that particular amount that you are receiving. That is not true on SSI. Okay. SSI will not cover your family.
Okay. So this may seem like a strange question, but do they have to have any eligibility or qualification themselves, or just by virtue of being a family member?
That's it. If you have a minor Social Security disability, and you get Social Security disability, the administration will immediately assume that that minor needs the help, and they are providing it for them.
Because of your situation.
That is correct, and because of your earnings record. The same is not true, unfortunately, for SSI.
Now, what about spouses? Does this have anything to do with triggering their benefits, or are they kind of separate and on their own about their own qualification for SSD or even going on to having just regular Social Security?
So the way it works with spouses is this way. First, if a couple is married for 10 years or more,
Okay.
and one passes away while the other was receiving benefits, that individual may collect the disability of the benefits of the other two ways only. One, if you're 50 and you're disabled, or if you're 60. So we have to be married 10 years, I have to be 60 years of age, or 50 and disabled, and I collect the benefits of the other one. Now, I am not going to be collecting two benefits.
Okay.
I am going to collect the higher benefit. It's important that viewers know this, so they don't get the impression that, yeah, that's great, I'm going to have now another source of income. It's basically one, the higher one.
And so, final question, do people, once they get their Social Security disability, they're on it, or do they sometimes lose that, or they have to re-qualify?
Now, the administration will review periodically individuals that are on disability. They will look to see whether the person is still treating, which is one of the things as advice that I would give right now, and that is, if you qualify for disability, please continue with your treatment. It's not over. The administration will review you, and if they believe that you are no longer disabled, they will seize your benefits.
Very good. All right. Excellent. Great overview, Luis. We appreciate it. Luis Gracia, thank you for being so much with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Not incorporating housing wealth into your retirement planning can be a big mistake. Why? Well, look, homeowners may limit their options, their flexibility, their lifestyle by not leveraging their home equity. Okay? This is a resource, and we got to consider all of our options when we're planning our retirement. Now, how do you access your home's equity? Well, there are a lot of options. First, you may decide to sell and downsize, a very common strategy. You may decide to sell and then rent. You may decide, look, I'm done owning a home. I want zero responsibility, zero maintenance. I want to be able to lock the door and go get on a cruise. I love it. That sounds good to me. So those are just two options. Here's a third. You can establish a line of credit or even refinance your home to get access to that equity. And another choice, the fourth choice, is to use a reverse mortgage loan or a reverse mortgage line of credit to access the equity in your home if you need it. All of these are options only if you need the money to support your lifestyle, to pay for long-term care or some sort of care you may need, and to have some more flexibility. Financial planning, when it comes to retirement, it's a lot about having options and flexibility. Now, let me give you a reality check. My mom and dad said it would be okay if I share with you a little bit about what we did working together. Now, they are retired teachers. They have Social Security. They have their pensions. They've got investments, and they've got a good advisor. We have all those things in place. But just to make sure we had enough resources, if one of them needed to have long-term care, well, we established a line of credit on their home, and we used the reverse mortgage version of the line of credit so that if we needed to use the money, draw on the equity in their home to be able to pay for care, we'd already have it in place. And I really like that option because it may not be a good time to pull on those other resources. So your takeaway is this: most adult children, like me, are more concerned about my parents' well-being than inheriting the house. Consider these options, and you too can plan stronger. We've covered a lot on today's program. Thank you for watching. I hope you found the information and the guests informative, and I hope this helps you to plan stronger. Oh, and one more thing. If you've enjoyed this program, call your local station and let them know. That will help me to plan stronger.
If you would like more information about the topics and our guests featured in this series, please visit our website at PlanStrongerTV.com. Also, if you have a question you would like David to answer, please send it to questions@PlanStrongerTV.com.
PlanStrongerTV is made possible in part by the following.
Helping you create a better retirement through home equity. The Stephen J. Sless Group of PRMI, National Reverse Mortgage Leaders. Expect more with Sless. The Rice Law Firm is dedicated to providing prompt, high-quality, and fairly priced service in the areas of wills, trusts, probate, and estate planning. We also assist individuals with divorce, family law, and prenuptial agreements. The Rice Law Firm is the name you can trust. To order the free PlanStronger newsletter and get the latest updates on the show, go to www.PlanStrongerTV.com/subscribe.